Okay, let's just dive right into this. You did everything right, didn't you? You know the drill. You studied hard, you got the degree, you landed the job, and you secured what society confidently calls a stable salary. Yet, despite playing exactly by the rules, you feel completely, utterly financially exhausted and honestly, just stuck. Look, if this sounds like you, I promise you are not alone. In this explainer, we're unpacking a massive global phenomenon. We're going to dig into the hard data, the economic shifts, and the underlying psychology behind why modern salaries simply no longer feel like enough.
We are living right in the middle of a massive paradox. Think about the modern worker. We literally have millions of professionals all over the world earning more on paper than their parents ever did, yet behind closed doors, they're secretly living paycheck to paycheck. You know the feeling. You might get a promotion or a nice little raise, and somehow, by the end of the month, the math still just doesn't add up. That reliable safety net a salary used to provide, it feels like it's completely vanished, leaving this strange, lingering anxiety in its place.
That right there, that is the sound of profound emotional burnout. And millions across the globe are feeling this exact weight right now. From young graduates just stepping into incredibly difficult economies, all the way up to six-figure corporate earners in major cities, there's this shared, silent panic. The goalposts for financial stability haven't just been moved, they've basically been placed in an entirely different stadium. It's a really grueling realization that your hard-earned credentials just don't guarantee that traditional middle-class security they promised us.
Part 1. 50 Years of Lost Value. Let's look at why our purchasing power is shrinking so drastically.
Let's break down this macroeconomic reality using something we all understand, a basic household grocery budget. Imagine walking into a supermarket 50 years ago with a $100 bill. Your grocery cart would be absolutely overflowing, right? You'd easily feed a family for weeks. Today? Okay, today that same $100 bill barely covers the bottom of the cart. It gets you some basic proteins, milk, eggs, and maybe a few vegetables, if you're lucky. This is the daily, undeniable reality of how inflation erodes your hard-earned salary before you even leave the checkout line. It's like your money is shrinking in the wash.
Economists call this purchasing power decay. Basically, it's the continuous decrease in the amount of goods or services that one single unit of money can buy over time. And understanding this completely demystifies why the financial milestones of previous generations, like buying a house at 25 on a single income, now seem mathematically impossible for most of us. You aren't doing something wrong. The value of the currency you're being paid in is just continuously shrinking. Your salary isn't necessarily smaller on paper, it just does a whole lot less heavy lifting in the real world.
Look at this number, 50. When we compare historical economic data from 50 years ago to today, the divergence is absolutely staggering. Over the last half-century, real wage growth for the typical worker has essentially flatlined. Meanwhile, the actual cost of raising a family, when you factor in things like modern childcare, education, and healthcare, has ballooned exponentially. So every single day, your salary is fighting a 50-year uphill battle against skyrocketing modern living expenses.
Part 2. The Global Rent Crisis. Let's shift to when housing completely consumes the paycheck. Because these basic living cost struggles, they are a truly global phenomenon. Whether you're a corporate worker in London facing crippling housing costs, or an entrepreneur navigating the emerging tech hub of Lagos, where local inflation meets extreme rent, the story is exactly the same. Even in major global cities like New York and Tokyo, a truly shocking percentage of a worker's monthly income goes directly, immediately, to landlords. It leaves almost nothing left over for savings or wealth building.
And this is the core of the crisis. The widening gap between what you earn and what it simply costs to exist is actively breaking the middle class. The math of basic survival is failing globally. Those traditional milestones we all aimed for, owning property, raising kids comfortably, putting a little away for a rainy day, they are actively being priced out of reach for people who, by all traditional metrics, have good jobs.
Part 3. Executive Pay and AI. We need to talk about the changing value of human labor.
Look at this sheer contrast over the last 30 years here. The massive, skyrocketing growth of corporate executive pay packages completely dwarfs the flatlining wages of frontline and entry-level employees. I mean, worker productivity has actually gone way up, but the financial rewards? They'd been ruthlessly funneled right to the very top. So, when we talk about salaries not being enough, it's partly because the massive wealth generated by the modern worker is simply no longer being shared with them.
Let's map this out chronologically to see how we got here. Back in the 1990s, a standard salary generally offered genuine middle-class stability. Fast forward to the 2010s, globalization and outsourcing sparked the massive rise of the gig economy. Sure, we traded stability for flexibility, but we often sacrificed essential benefits in the process. And now in the 2020s, we are staring down the barrel of the AI disruption era. These are massive historical shifts that are systematically threatening the historical value of human labor.
So what does the immediate future hold? Well, over the next 5 to 10 years, emerging AI tools are going to automate routine tasks, directly threatening current middle-class job security. Then you have remote work arbitrage, which basically means companies can hire globally, paying someone in a cheaper economy far less for the exact same output. Add in the inherent instability of the gig economy, and the result is a massive devaluation of traditional degrees. Sadly, your professional credentials simply don't offer the protective shield they used to.
Part 4. The psychology of survival debt. Let's dive into the mental toll of modern work.
I want you to really think about this question. There is a profound, incredibly painful psychological shift happening right now. Previous generations, they went to work to save for retirement. They built long-term personal wealth. Today, millions of modern professionals go to work just to manage high-interest survival debt. Choosing to prioritize keeping the lights on over building personal savings, that takes a massive, chronic mental health toll on workers every single day.
It's literally the ultimate modern trap. Social media algorithms are constantly, relentlessly fueling the pressure for unattainable lifestyle standards. We are just bombarded with images of luxury and success, which totally masks the widespread financial insecurity going on behind the scenes. People are taking on crushing consumer debt just to maintain an online illusion of middle-class success, while quietly struggling to afford groceries offline. It's an exhausting way to live, isn't it?
Just look at these competing financial pressures eating the modern paycheck alive. You've got massive housing costs, crippling student loans, basic survival needs, and, of course, debt maintenance. So, what's actually left for savings? Just a tiny, razor-thin slice. This immense financial pressure completely isolates professionals. It weakens community bonds, it disrupts family planning, and it acts as a massive driver for chronic anxiety and mental health struggles all over the world.
Part 5. Adapting and building wealth. How do we navigate this future of work?
Because we can't just stop at the problem, right? This right here is the new mantra for the modern worker. Simply putting in more hours at a salary job that fails to keep pace with inflation, that's a losing game. Instead, we're seeing a massive rise in digital entrepreneurship, the creator economy, and people aggressively leveraging remote work. And honestly, these aren't just trendy career choices anymore. They are desperate, entirely necessary survival tactics to regain some of that lost purchasing power.
Surviving all of this requires a fundamental shift in mindset. You absolutely have to understand the crucial difference between merely earning an income, which is just trading your precious time for money to pay the bills, and actually building wealth. True wealth means acquiring appreciating assets that grow in value completely independently of your daily labor, providing a much-needed hedge against the inflation that is actively eroding your salary.
So here are 4 actionable steps you can actually take today to start adapting. First, audit your lifestyle inflation. Don't let your spending automatically rise just because society expects it to. Second, ruthlessly break your credit dependency to stop funding that survival debt we talked about. Third, leverage the very AI tools that threaten traditional jobs to multiply your own efficiency. And finally, build diverse income streams. You cannot be entirely reliant on a single, vulnerable corporate salary anymore. Which leaves us with this final thought. If the traditional promise of the salary is broken, you have to write your own rules. What does your version of true financial freedom actually look like? It's time to redefine success away from the illusion of the paycheck and completely rethink how you will navigate your own financial future. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the modern economy. I really hope this explainer has given you the clarity you need to start thinking differently about your work, your money, and most importantly, your future.